Hi, welcome to Digging to China. I'm Dong Shong. The most significant recent political news in China is that on July 9th, the State Council addressed a major public concern: the transportation of edible oil by tank trucks that previously carried industrial oil. This issue had been a hot topic in China for 3 to 4 days before the State Council's intervention. The People's Daily and China's Central Television CCTV reported on it, escalating the matter further. Finally, Premier Li Qiang also responded, showing the gravity of the situation. How did the State Council get involved in this high-profile issue? Xinhua News Agency reported that the State Council's Food Safety Office formed a joint investigation team to thoroughly examine the irregularities in the transportation of edible oil by tank trucks. The State Council's Food Safety Office placing great importance on this matter, organizing a special meeting with several departments, including the National Development and Reform Commission, the Ministry of Public Security, the Ministry of Transport, the State Administration for Market Regulation, and the National Food and Strategic Reserves Administration. They established a joint investigation team to thoroughly investigate the issues related to the transportation of edible oil by tank trucks. They pledged to severely punish illegal enterprises and the responsible individuals according to the law, with zero tolerance. Additionally, they will conduct a comprehensive inspection to identify and address potential risks in the edible oil transportation sector. Regarding this significant news, which has sparked extensive discussion among Chinese netizens, social media in China has been abuzz with debates about the State Council's meeting or decision. From what I have seen, most netizens are sarcastic and skeptical, with a few taking the State Council's actions seriously or expecting it to resolve the issue this time. Here are my takeaways. First, it's important to understand the background of this hot topic and the significant reactions it has caused in Chinese society. This issue originated from an exclusive report by the Beijing News, a subsidiary of Guangming Daily. The report revealed an unspoken rule within China's oil tank truck transportation industry. After transporting industrial oil, these tank trucks proceed to transport edible oil without undergoing proper cleaning. This report stirred a strong reaction in Chinese society, escalating continuously despite attempts by authorities to divert attention with other news. People continue to discuss this issue fervently. Chinese netizens are focused on this event. They are particularly concerned about the two main issues. In the 3 days after this news broke, Chinese netizens expressed astonishment and raised concerns. They questioned whether tank trucks transporting edible oil without a proper cleaning after industrial oil might contaminate the oil we consume, potentially affecting its hygiene and healthiness. This issue dominated discussion on Chinese social media during those initial days. By the 4th day, Chinese internet discussion had shifted to another hot topic. The focus now was on the broader realization that the issue of unclean edible oil wasn't just isolated or temporary. It had been a long-standing and widespread practice in the oil tank truck transportation industry, a previously undisclosed secret. This realization deeply unsettled Chinese netizens. Many have speculated that they may have unknowingly consumed such contaminated oil for years or even decades. This raises questions about why such a dirty and unethical practice remained hidden until its recent exposure by the Beijing News. If not for this revelation, would the public have continued to consume this tainted oil? Many wonder who has been overseeing this issue and why the industry has kept it concealed from the public for so long. So after the second round of escalated discussion, Chinese netizens' attention on the issue of contaminated oil has intensified compared to the first round. Discussions are more vigorous and proactive. This is why the issue has escalated beyond control and continues to gain momentum. The depth of public discourse on this event has deepened over time. Secondly, the public sentiment on Chinese social media reflects a sense of feigned innocence. For example, The practice where tank trucks transport edible oil without cleaning after carrying industrial oil has long been an undisclosed industry secret. Such issues are sadly commonplace in China. It's not limited to edible oil transportation. Food safety problems have been pervasive and widely acknowledged. Recently, the discussion around excessive contamination in seasoning ingredients of Lao Gan Ma chili sauce highlighted another unspoken rule where consumers often continue using products despite knowing the risk. In China, there is a widespread awareness of unspoken rules where everyone understands certain practices without openly challenging them or expressing surprise. This societal dynamic often leads to a mutual indifference, where even incidents like elderly people falling without assistance can go unnoticed. So why has there been such intense outrage over the issue of tank trucks transporting edible oil without cleaning? While public opinion and discontent are natural reactions, it's puzzling why other more egregious unspoken rules in society don't receive the same level of public scrutiny or outcry. Thirdly, after this issue stirred up considerable attention in China, Premier Li Qiang stepped forward, and I believe his response didn't disappoint. What does this mean? The Wall Street Journal referred to Li Qiang as a small-town official, and indeed he started his career as one. Initially, when the Beijing news report first shocked Chinese society, Li Qiang may have underestimated its significance, thinking it might blow over after a few days of discussion. Therefore, he initially refrained from immediate action. However, after nearly a week of ongoing discussions, Li Qiang couldn't remain passive any longer. Initially, when the focus of this incident centered on the drivers of the oil tank trucks, Li Qiang may have felt disconnected from it, thinking, this issue doesn't concern me. However, as public opinion evolved to condemn the entire industry's hidden rules and its collective silence towards society, criticism expanded to encompass the entire sector. Chinese citizens began holding the entire industry accountable. At this juncture, the State Council could no longer evade responsibility, prompting Li Qiang to step forward and respond. Firstly, this situation highlights his initial indifference and the lack of sensitivity, where he failed to grasp the seriousness of the issue. He underestimated it as a minor matter that could fade with the public opinion, but it did not. Secondly, Li Qiang's response came only after Chinese netizens began criticizing the industry and its management, demanding accountability and likening it to pursuing war criminals. Continued scrutiny could have implicated the State Council, necessitating Li Qiang's intervention. It appears that Li Qiang behaves like a small-town official, often choosing to avoid unnecessary issues and only stepping in when he can no longer avoid them. Despite his long tenure in Beijing and his role as a premier, there seems to have been little advancement. He continues to exhibit the traits of a small-town official. Fourthly, I've observed a Chinese media outlet openly criticizing Li Qiang. While the public focus on the issue of tank trucks not cleaning before transporting edible oil, Li Qiang has responded by directing the State Council to address the issue, insisting on thorough cleaning before using the trucks for edible oil transport again. However, recently, a financial media outlet in China, Daily Economic News, stepped forward to correct the State Council's perspective. The article argued that the State Council's focus was misguided. The crux of the issue isn't just about cleaning the trucks. In principle, trucks used for transporting industrial oil shouldn't be used for edible oil transport at all. The general public doesn't grasp this, and neither does the Beijing news. They perceive the industry's error as using tank trucks that previously carried the toxic industrial oil without proper cleaning before loading edible oil again. Even the State Council follows suit in echoing this sentiment. Daily Economic News, like the boy in the emperor's new clothes, steps forward to speak the truth. In their report, it's quite intriguing. A journalist from Daily Economic News interviewed a practitioner in the tank truck cleaning industry. This practitioner mentioned that, as a standard practice, grain and oil companies not only mandate the tank trucks to be cleaned before entering their facilities, but also require them to provide third-party inspection reports confirming their cleanliness before loading oil. This contradicts the notion reported by Beijing News about an industry-wide open secret of neglecting tank cleaning. In fact, government regulations have long required such practices, including mandatory cleaning and third-party verification before transporting edible oil. So, the Beijing News report itself appears to have some issues. Daily Economic News emphasizes two key points in their coverage. Firstly, the existing regulations already require cleaning, but enforcement has been lacking. Secondly, they interviewed an expert named Mr. Liu, who highlighted another critical aspect. Even if tanks are cleaned, they may still not be suitable for transporting edible oil due to inadequate cleaning standards for removing toxic industrial oil. The expert, speaking to Daily Economic News, described the situation as tantamount to manslaughter. He insisted that tank trucks should be strictly dedicated to specific use and criticized the practice of using trucks that transport diesel or kerosene for edible oil, even if they undergo cleaning consequently. Consequently, Daily Economic News portrayed the State Council's meeting as a farce. Despite the Council's emphasis on cleaning, Li Qiang appeared confused and misunderstood the context. The State Council has already mandated cleaning, but Li Qiang was misled by Beijing News report, mistakenly believing there was no such requirement. In reality, the regulation had long been established but lacked proper enforcement. This has become a public embarrassment for Li Qiang. Another perspective highlighted the fundamental issue within the State Council itself. It's not just about reforming and restructuring policies. The core problem lies in the policy that allows tank trucks that have previously carried toxic industrial oil to transport edible oil. This reveals a systemic loophole rather than a problem that the State Council needs to investigate and address. It underscores substantial shortcomings in the Council's management framework. In today's China, given its current economic strength, there is an urgent need to formulate policies prohibiting the mixing of tank trucks used for industrial oil and edible oil. It is essential to introduce regulations mandating dedicated use for each type of truck. During China's previous periods of poverty, owning any tank truck was considered a luxury. However, with China's current economic prosperity, it is both necessary and feasible to implement strict rules ensuring tank trucks are used exclusively for their designated purposes, thereby prohibiting any mixing of their use. Reflecting on Li Qiang's recent remarks about investigating the issue of unwashed tank trucks, it becomes apparent that likening him to a small-town official isn't unjustified. His understanding, knowledge base, and logical approach to the matter appear inadequate. While the public was debating the necessity of tank cleaning, Li Qiang seemed to think the solution was straightforward: cleaning them. However, the Daily Economic News highlighted an aspect that left Premier Li Qiang no room to evade responsibility, akin to the tale of the emperor's new clothes. It becomes clear that the issue extended beyond mere cleaning. Certainly, even if Li Qiang were to implement a policy separating the transport of industrial liquid from edible oil, and even if such regulations were put in place, it's plausible that due to entrenched industry practice and habits, some might still not adhere to the rules, leading to instances of illegal transportation. So, this ultimately boils down to a strict enforcement issue. Even if you don't adopt the Daily Economic News suggestion to mandate the separate use of tank trucks or don't adhere strictly to the State Council's previous cleaning requirements, enforcement remains lacking. Moreover, state-owned grain and oil companies haven't diligently followed the previous regulations. Hence, this industry's open secrets adverse to humanity and health are concealed not just by private enterprises or these tank truck owners, but also by state-owned enterprises. In this scenario, it's not just about the State Council conducting a thorough investigation. Rather, the State Council needs to first conduct a self-assessment. I wonder how Li Qiang felt after reading this news. He might feel regretful, thinking that the meeting was convened too early. They should have waited until the report from the Daily Economic News was published before convening the State Council meeting, which might have avoided this embarrassment situation. However, if Li Qiang doesn't stumble on this issue, he might stumble on another. Li Qiang's level of understanding and thinking is indeed constrained by the mindset of a small town official. This also reflects the foundational characteristics and the governance approach of Xi Jinping's team in governing the country. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.